Welcome to the Crohn's Fitness Food Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Gish. I've been navigating Crohn's disease since my first symptoms in 2003 and IgA nephropathy since 2021. But now I'm about to do it all while living on a boat and traveling around the Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. Join me on our travels as I continue to search for better health through mindfulness, fitness, medications, adventures, and so much more. And if you want to join me and my husband Jeff on our boating adventures, follow us on our YouTube channel, Offshore Gishing. Hey, welcome back, everyone. So if you've been following me and this podcast or my story and my journey, you already know that my husband Jeff and I are getting ready. We are in the process of selling our house so that we can live on a boat and travel around the world, maybe not the whole world right away, but we'll be doing some traveling. And as many of you know and have experienced, moving and selling a home is incredibly stressful. And for many people, myself included, for many of us with IBD, stress is a huge trigger for IBD. This time, stress did not trigger IBD, but it triggered something else for me. I am sitting here, I now have a case of shingles, which is sucking at the moment. So shingles, if you're not familiar with it, it is the same virus that causes chickenpox. So if you've had chickenpox as a kid, the virus will stay dormant in you for the rest of your life. And about 1/3 of people who have had chickenpox and have the virus dormant, about 1/3 of those people will develop shingles. According to some articles I've been reading online, Healthline is one of them. The experts, quote unquote, don't really know why some people develop shingles and others don't. So according to the article on Healthline that I was looking at, around half of all shingles cases occur after the age of 60, and people who are more likely to develop shingles are those who have health conditions that affect the immune system, people who are taking medications that affect the immune system, might sound familiar, and people who have too much sun exposure. That's a new one to me. I hadn't heard that before. But obviously, I am back on my Humira, the Hadlima, the Humira biosimilar, so I'm back on my medications, which obviously makes me immunocompromised. So the combination, I think, of being immunocompromised, the insane amount of stress of selling our house, and not just selling our house, but selling with the intent to live on a boat. There are so many moving pieces, so many logistics, and my type A brain is just, it's smoking and just short-circuiting at how many moving pieces there are to this, with just thinking about medications and am I going to get enough medications for 1 month, for 2 months? When do I go back to my primary care doctor and ask for a year's supply of medications, and updating addresses and doctor appointments, and how are those going to line up the way we want them to? Plus, we're going to do some traveling after we sell the house while we wait for some updates on the boat. And so there's just so many moving pieces that my brain is having a hard time coping with the amount of stress. So needless to say, I'm under quite a bit of stress. I've been on the Hadlima for a couple of years now, so my immune system is weakened. And to top it all off, I decided to start doing some big workouts. So I did a couple of big workouts to physically run down my body a week or so ago. And what happened was, if you have not had shingles, I had a family member in the past that had had shingles, so I was a little bit familiar with it, but I didn't realize what was actually happening at the time, because I noticed Thursday and Friday is when I did my big workouts for the first time in a few weeks, maybe a month or so. I had, with the selling the house and getting ready to move, my workouts have taken a back seat again, just so that we can get going through all the house stuff and get everything taken care of. So I did a really big workout after having not done any workouts for a while. And so Friday, my back started to feel sore. And then Saturday, all day long Saturday, I had this sharp, shooting, stabbing pain that would just race up my spine intermittently. So it wasn't constant throughout the whole day, but it was constant in the sense that it was just all throughout the day. There'd be out of nowhere just bursts of this sharp shooting pain going up my spine and through my back. And describing it sounds like something that I should have taken more seriously in the moment, but because my back had been a little bit sore Friday, I just kind of equated it as, man, I really must have worked out or pulled some muscles and done something weird. So even though describing it, it sounds pretty bad, at the time, I talked myself into thinking that it wasn't as bad as it was. So Saturday, I just had horrible back pain all day long. And then Saturday night, late, 11 p.m., getting ready for bed, I noticed 3 little spots on my abdomen. And then I woke up Sunday and I had a rash from the right side of my belly button that wrapped around to my back and then ended at my spine. So when I mentioned earlier that I had a family member in the past who had had shingles, the person actually had it just on his head, but it was one-sided. So I was familiar with the one-sided rash being shingles. I didn't necessarily think shingles right away. I think it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I quickly pulled out my phone and went to Google because let's admit it, that's what we all do in this day and age. We go to Google. So I Googled shooting back pain and rash on my abdomen, and shingles was like the first thing that popped up. And the light bulb kind of went on for me like, yeah, this totally makes sense. And the way it described the pain was exactly what I was having. I'd remembered that the rash was only one-sided, and this definitely was. And I knew it was going to spread fast if this was what it was, which at that point I was pretty convinced it was shingles. And everything I was reading said that if you treat shingles within 72 hours of the rash appearing, then treating it with the antiviral medications, then you'll be able to reduce the amount of time that it actually takes to heal and recover from a case of shingles. So I didn't want to go to the ER, but it was Sunday, so I couldn't walk into my doctor's office for a walk-in appointment. And I knew that if it was shingles, I really needed to start treating it right away. So I did go to the ER, and thankfully, our ER it's always been quick. Every time I've gone there to the VA where I live, and I went in, there was nobody in the waiting room. They saw me right away. I barely sat down for them to take my blood pressure. I stood up. The doctor was right there. He asked me what was going on. I described everything to him. He was like, yeah, this is definitely shingles. It's a textbook. Shingles, everything you're describing, everything I'm seeing. He's like, I'll put in the prescription right now so that you can have some antivirals and get started on those immediately. Walked down to the pharmacy to go pick that up. I was in and out of the ER in 30 minutes. So it was awesome in the sense that they are just so efficient. But I get really good care there at the VA and quite happy for that. So I did get the antivirals and I started taking those. They are big pills, so I have to cut them up into a few different pieces. I don't like taking the big pills, but I've started taking the antivirals. I have to take those for a week. And a couple of things I was reading as I was Googling, the way that I and probably many of you do. I don't think I'm the only one that Googles this stuff, but some of the sites I was looking at had said that when you're taking immunosuppressing medications, if you're also taking antivirals, you might need to pause the medication that's suppressing your immune system or weakening it. So I actually have a follow-up appointment with my gastroenterologist this week coming up because of the colonoscopy that I had earlier. So this was just a follow-up for that. And so I asked him, I said, number one, should I come into my appointment? And then number two, should I take the Hadlima, should I take my medication this week or should I wait? So they actually got back to me. The nurse had spoke with my doctor and the nurse called me back same day, which is great, very efficient. And so she told me to go ahead, and the doctor had recommended that I skip my Humira that I was supposed to take this week. I'll skip this week while I'm on the antivirals, and then I'll pick it back up next week. So obviously this is not any sort of medical advice, but if you do find yourself with a case of shingles, definitely reach out to your doctor, ask if you need to pause your medications or what they recommend, and always go to the doctor and seek medical advice. This is just my little story here. So one of the other things that the family member in the past that I knew that had shingles was in intense pain. Shingles, from everything that I had learned or known about, shingles is supposed to cause intense pain. Now, I did have that Saturday with the shooting pains up my back and just really sharp, stinging, intense pain. But after that, it's been okay. It's been dull and aching and a couple sharp pains here and there, but Monday, Tuesday, everything's been fine so far. A little bit of pain. Sometimes it feels like a toddler is kicking me in the back. So it's not pleasant, but it's not the worst. It's not the worst pain. So I'm able to go about my day and do some things around the house, do some things that I need to do, like finish packing up this house so we can get it sold. But luckily the pain, thank goodness, is not too extreme other than that one day. So the other thing I'm doing to try and help the shingles rash heal a little bit quicker is one of the products that my husband and I absolutely love and swear by is something called hypochlorous acid. There's a brand, Hypochlor, that was recommended to my husband when he had his eye removed, and his eye doctor had said that he should use that, wiping his eye every day, kind of cleaning it, because the hypochlorous acid is something that is naturally produced by our bodies. It's an antimicrobial agent produced by our white blood cells to fight infections, but you can actually buy it, like the Hypochlor, which is that particular brand, and it's the hypochlorous acid, which works the same way that it does from your body. So the great thing about it, it pretty much attacks every kind of bacteria and virus and everything that your body is trying to fight off. It is excellent at helping your body to fight off these particular bacterias or viruses, fungals, all kinds of different things. So definitely look into it. We found a brand called Briotech that we really love, and it's just the pure hypochlorous acid. Put it in a little spray bottle. We'll usually spray it on like a cotton round and then wipe it on like a scratch or some kind of a rash, a skin thing to help the body heal. So I don't know if that would be recommended or not, but I love the Hypochlor. If you guys ever watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and I think it was the grandpa in there that loved Windex, and he would just use Windex for everything. Windex was like the cure-all. Basically, that's Hypochlor for my husband and I. We use it for everything. It's like our magic cure-all. So anyways, I'm using it. I don't know if it's helping or not. I believe it's helping. But because of what it is, the hypochlorous acid, it is actually able to penetrate the bacterial cell walls and the membranes, and that's what gives it so much fighting power against all of these bacteria and viruses. So I'm hoping that by using that on the rash, I'm hoping it'll help speed up the rash healing. And then, of course, I've got the antiviral medication, so that's probably doing the heavy lifting and is probably what's going to be responsible for hopefully speeding up this case of shingles. And I think most cases of shingles will last a few weeks. So maybe getting on the antivirals quickly, getting on the antivirals quickly is supposed to cut down the healing time by about a week or more. So hopefully I'll just have this case of shingles for a week, 2 at the max, and be done. But I guess the lesson here is don't hesitate to go to the doctor to have something looked at, even if you have to go to the ER for it. Don't hesitate. I mean, there's so many times I still find myself hesitating, even with this case of shingles. I was asking myself, should I wait? Maybe I'll wait one more day and I'll just see if the rash gets bigger. Nothing ever gets helped by waiting for something to get worse. So just go to the hospital sooner rather than later. And if you are taking medications that weaken your immune system, which a lot of us are, if you have IBD and you're on some of these infusions or injections, a lot of them do weaken the immune system. So just be aware of that. I know that day to day I feel really good, and I forget a lot of times, most of the time, I forget that I am immunocompromised because I don't feel that way. I feel really good most days, every day. I feel really good. So I don't think about how much stress can affect my body and how that might trigger an IBD flare, even though I'm on medication, or how it might trigger other things like the shingles. So just take care of your body. Listen to your body. I know it's hard when we're dealing with stressful situations. There's not a whole lot that I feel that I can do to manage, to reduce the stress during the house move. Moving is stressful, but I can remember to take a breath and remember to tell myself everything will be okay. And so maybe that's what I should have done, is I should have just allowed myself to relax a little more. Some meditation probably would have been good. And I stress so much about making a plan and planning for what I don't know, but we can't plan for everything. And there are those people out there. My husband's one of them. He's just like, hey, it'll work out. Whatever happens, it'll work out. And it does. But remind yourself to relax as much as you can in situations that are stressful, that you don't have a lot of control over. And don't hesitate to go to the doctor when you need to. So continue to take care of your bodies. Rest, eat well, enjoy life, smile, relax, find joy, do all the things that will help mitigate the stress, and stay well, everyone. But I hope you enjoyed hearing about my case of shingles, and hopefully it gives you a reminder to take a breath and step back and just relax and be in the moment, enjoy the day, and take care of yourself. So that's it for today. I will talk to y'all next time. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for listening and coming along with me on this journey for better health. Please subscribe to get the latest episodes as they come out, and I hope you'll follow more of my adventures with my husband Jeff on our YouTube channel, Offshore Gishing.